we traveled outside of town to go see this.
Oh, but the trip was worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Truly. For now, we've seen the light.
We had to pass by a cemetery to get here. That made sense. We're seeing this in Lincoln, Illinois, which is about a half hour outside of Springfield. So it actually is coming to Springfield this weekend. So this will be one of those cases where at some point you'll see Dave's thoughts on this film.
Man, fuck this movie.
Well, now, don't give away what we feel about it so yet.
Oh. All right. We loved it so much.
Uh-huh. So if you don't know what this movie is, we've mentioned this quite a bit this year on Twitter and whatnot, and in some other references. We did a movie that was released last April that is Jesus Bro, which you can find at JesusBroMovie.com. I haven't promoted that in a while. I hope that's the right site. So, this movie is directed by Kevin Sorbo, and it's written by his wife and the guy who wrote Passenger 57. Random. So, this movie is serious Jesus Bro. They both have similar plot lines. They both have... I was actually jealous of some of the bad dialogue in this. I kind of wish this movie came out.
Some of it I feel like was just straight up from Jesus Bro.
There are parts of this movie that you could watch this movie back to back with Jesus Bro, which I highly recommend doing. And there are aspects of this movie where you won't be able to tell which movie is the fucking parody. Like, It would be like if 0 Hour came out after Airplane. Like, this movie is so bad. Even the trailer, I was like, this feels like a parody trailer more than our movie, because Kevin Michael Richardson did the narration in the trailer, and it goes, "He was the world's greatest atheist until one day he had an accident." Like, where does parody end and this movie begin?
But, like, the thing is, like, Jesus Bro, like... Yeah, I was in it, but the story is not as mean-spirited, rotten, and just toxic as this movie was.
Our movie is a better Christian movie than this. It's a much better... This movie... Here's how subtle this movie is, and believe me, we're going to get into the subtleties of this fucking film. Okay, now the basic plot of the movie is that Kevin Sorbo is... the world's most popular atheist. His last name is Hawkins, because sounds kind of like Dawkins.
Was it Harkins?
Harkins, that's it.
Yeah.
Is
like
Harkins. Like, so... And not only that, it's a movie about a guy who has a come-to-Jesus moment, so of course his first name is Saul. And so he has a near-death experience, and he finds... it's a conversion movie. It's him like becoming a Christian and everything. So basic plot of Jesus Bro, but this movie is so unsubtle that the opening scene in this movie is 9-11.
It was when they started the credits and they started playing that rap song about "Let There Be Light." I was like, okay.
Light, yeah.
And then immediately.
World Trade Center.
The World Trade Center. Any hope I had for this movie gone, because I knew immediately if they're going to start with that, like, it's just going to be downhill from there. And
and it was, because that's followed by executive produced by Sean Hannity.
Man, this was so exploited, and there was no reason for that either. To
No,
9/11.
There so wasn't.
That. It's only, you know why they put that in there? It's because this movie is so fucking anti-Muslim. Like, they had to show, like, the bad side of being Muslim, you know, like, and they had, like, one character who's from Pakistan that's later that they talk about converting to Christianity. But other than that, all they talk about with people from the Middle East is just mentioning ISIS all the time and talking about how bad ISIS. Well, ISIS is bad.
Well,
but,
yeah.
I mean, that's all they associate with any other religion that they bring up is just like ISIS shouldn't be cutting off people's heads, so be a Christian. You know?
Oh yeah, there's a part where they're meeting with Sean Hannity, and Sean Hannity says to him, another thing it has in common with Jesus, bro, they both have talking chicken sandwiches in them. So Sean Hannity says, so what right do you have to try to get people to convert? And Kevin Sorbo goes, ISIS is bad. And Sean Hannity's like, touche.
I think he literally says, like, you make a strong point there.
You make a strong point there. How's my hair look?
Thank God they forewent their honeymoon and went to Sean
Oh
Hannity.
my God!
What
I mean, we're jumping all over the place on here, but like, okay, when Sorbo and his wife get remarried in this, towards the end of the movie, their wedding is interrupted by like his publicist who takes a phone call during the ceremony, but it's okay because she comes back and says, oh, I needed to take this call. Good news. I got you booked on Hannity. Like, I hope, look, I'm getting married in like a week. I hope to God that Dave interrupts my wedding to go, Brad, good news. You get to hang out with the Westboro Baptist Church. Like, Dave, really? Thanks. Anyway, honey, I know you're in the movie. The wife is dying at this point. I know you're dying of cancer, my newly remarried wife, but Hannity? They're going to go on Hannity so he can blame her cancer on Hillary.
He robbed them of their honeymoon. The dying woman's honeymoon robbed by Sean Hannity. But thank God they got a Chick-fil-A reference thrown in there.
We can get the kids dinner. It's okay. You know how much they love Chick-fil-A. The movie opens with a debate between Kevin Sorbo.
What was this debate for?
Dude, I have no idea.
What is this?
The name of there's so much great shit about this movie. The name of his book, of Kevin Sorbo's book, is Aborting God. And then later on, like, he's talking about, like, we need to make t-shirts that say ISIS equals church. I'm like, dude, you're not an atheist, you're just a try-hard asshole. Like,
well, he's at the debate. He's debating a Christian man, I don't know, at the atheist versus Christian debate. I don't know what this audience is, where they were, but he's promoting his book, and the preacher, I don't know if he's got his own book or if he's just like...
He had his own book.
Okay.
It said, like, Return to
like
Faith or something like that.
Atheist book versus Christian book.
Uh-huh.
And they have a moderator.
Oh,
who goes
like hell they do.
They have a moderator who goes like, hey, Kevin Sorbo, you know what the rules are. And he's like, forget the rules. And then the moderator, never seen again. He doesn't let the Christian guy talk anymore. He just keeps talking over him. He makes Wayne's World references.
He's rambling about nonsense. Like, I couldn't follow a thread in what... Oh, it would like... It's like, this isn't like the Richard Dawkins, like, atheist Christian debate. This is some Christian guy debating a prototype of Frank T.J. Mackey from Magnolia. Like, you're expecting Kevin Sorbo to just suddenly scream, respect the cock! Like, he sits there, like, he sits in front of the audience, he brings up how much he loves sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah,
he quotes Wayne's World. Like, what are you doing? Like, this is... It's...
Some points he makes are not, like, I'm a Christian. Like, I know it doesn't sound like it, like, because I'm just bashing this movie, but this is so hateful. But, like, some of the points he makes, as at the atheist debate, are fair points. Like, when he says, like, okay, you shouldn't be worried about God being mad at you, you should just be a good person, which
he says
humanity.
That.
And, like, while I believe in God, I do believe that you should be a good person regardless. So there's some things, and they don't do a very good job of portraying the Christian guy, by the way, because, like, he's mad at him. The next time they see him, he doesn't want to help him once he's converted to Christianity, and that's the last time you see him.
Mm-hmm.
so much for that.
I was expecting that to come back, yeah.
Yeah, there's no solidarity with, like, other Christians in this movie outside of his family and, like,
and Sean Hannity,
who's like hell he's a Christian. Oh man. I really didn't like this movie.
This is a terrible, terrible
mad at
film. There's a part in Kevin Sorbo's apartment where the camera is more so fixated on the poster of one of his books that's a picture of Kevin Sorbo, and it says, Hercules, more real than God? Which kind of question is that? Like,
Okay, actually, I do remember the one Christian that they had solidarity with. Pastor Vinny, fucking bada bing, bada boom.
this is one of the parts in the movie that there is so many lines in this movie that I'm so jealous of because I wish I wrote them in Jesus, bro. One of them was when he was talking to his wife, like this is when he's still an atheist, and he's talking to his wife, and he goes, hey, you're knocking me for being an atheist, but that's what's paying the bills around here. And his wife goes, but who pays the emotional bills? And so later on, one of the... If you haven't seen Jesus, bro, there's a lot of parts in that movie where once Dave has his near-death experience, he's coming across different random and weird characters. There is a character in this that I wish to God that I put in that. Kevin Sorbo finds his faith from Pastor Vinny.
He finds him painting a fence.
Uh-huh. Oh, what are you doing here? You're looking at the pastor. I'm just painting my fucking fence.
He says all of the Italian cliches you could ever think of. He might as well have just been on tequila and Benetti.
Yeah.
Eating breadsticks and with a big bowl of spaghetti. As he tells him, forget about it.
Oh!
Here's the story of the Lord. See, the Lord gets whacked, right? Jesus gets whacked. And then what happened to the body? Well, the body wasn't there because he was resurrected.
Laura and I were watching a movie the other day called Mobsters and Mormons. That wasn't even for a snob episode. We were just like, we need to see a movie with that title. Man, that movie wasn't as, like, stereotypical as this guy. This guy is, like, giving, he's telling Kevin Sorbo about the resurrection, and the way he's putting it is like, so then the Romans, because, you know, they were Italian, you know, they whacked Jesus and bada bing, the body's gone. Now that's all the proof I need, because you know us Italians, we need evidence, and we need to know where the body is.
He literally says bada bing.
Yeah.
That's in the dialogue.
Man. And Kevin Sorbo's, like, book dealer friend, or his agent, whoever, is Daniel Roebuck, who, if I cast a character like that, this is, I guess, sort of the Carlos equivalent in the movie. Kinda. I mean, not in that, like, he's this goofy guy who Kevin Sorbo's talking to through most of it.
The Carlos equivalent was the black lady.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
She was black friend who's very supportive and went to church already.
But she didn't have any shtick, and the Daniel Roebuck...
She had the phone shtick.
Yeah.
Phone a lot. I mean...
But the other guy, like, if I had cast an equivalent of the other guy, it would have been Lewis, because they look a lot alike. Like,
just imagining Lewis playing
this.
He's the one that says the shirts that should say ISIS equals church.
Oh, that's one. This character is so poorly written. Like, they have this. He talks in an accent for whatever reason. Like, motherfucker, you were in The Fugitive. What are you doing in this?
I feel like, I don't know, they, like, gay coded him? Am I thinking too much into this?
No, you are not. Because every time he talked about, like, why don't you get a friend for me, darling? Make sure she's attractive. I'm like, all right, bro. And so, like, but all of his lines are darling, 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 darling. In every line, they make him go, darling, darling. Zsa Zsa Gabor would tell this guy to tone the fuck down on the darling shit. Like, it's, darling, darling, yes, darling. He also has one of my favorite lines in the movie where Kevin Sorbo, when he's announced that he's a Christian now, and Daniel Roebuck goes, I wish you died in that car accident, darling, because you are now dead to me. And he walks out and is never seen in the movie again. You are dead to me, darling. And it's Kevin Sorbo's, like, actual family is in this, and...
you can tell who's the better actor by who gets the most lines.
Which that's saying something, because the kid who has the most lines in this, I should be nice to this kid. When I met Kevin Sorbo, the kid was at least good at taking a photograph.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the kids are like. I got a feeling about what Kevin Sorbo's like, but
Kevin Sorbo, I don't trust him anymore, because when I saw him in August, he assured me that this was even better than God's Not Dead. So his kids, I leaned over to you, was like, I recognize these kids. That's the kid who took my money to get the picture, and that's the one who took the photograph. They were just as charismatic in real life. So the kid in this, like, no, Dad, what are you doing? Now, Dad, when you go on this date with Mom, make sure she is back by 10 o'clock. And the other kid just goes, don't leave us, Mommy. Like, oh.
See, you're not understanding the nuances of these performances. You see, because the older kid, he's got the whole, like, I'm the serious one. I don't want Mom to get hurt by you.
I'm the serious one because I never change my expression during this entire film.
He might have lifted his eyebrows once or twice. And the other kid, he's a wiseacre. He says things like, that mean we get more allowance? and by golly, the people in the audience sure did laugh at that.
Oh, they sure did. Oh man, there was some good God-fearing folk in there tonight.
What was the line that Sorbo wife says when she sees the table? He set up the dinner for them, and she says, like, oh, heavenly something.
Yeah, oh, heavenly feast, or
something like that.
I can't remember.
Like an exclamation. It was bizarre.
There are some parts where she's fine. Like there's some parts where she's serviceable.
I've seen her in other things where she's fine. She was on Hercules with him. That's how they met. And I mean, she has some awful moments in this.
Oh Lord, yes, she does.
Kevin Sorbo, can I just say, he's still charismatic.
Yeah, he is.
There's really awful things in this, but like, honestly, he was a better character as the atheist.
Yeah, he was.
He was more interesting and charismatic, and then once he converted, it just turned into like a lot of this really hateful stuff.
Yeah, and once he converts, they instantly give the wife cancer, and every time
the night he
proposed,
everything is
gets
so
cancer.
Conveniently timed in this movie.
Oh god, even when he goes up to heaven and the kid's like, first of all, I'm like, dude, if anyone is gonna have a scientific explanation of this near-death experience you're having, I think it'd be you, asshole.
All right, let's not just jump into this whole near-death experience. We gotta take a journey into this one. He's at his book signing, and he's like a drunk in the movie, so he keeps drinking, and he ends up getting into a car accident because he's literally in the car driving on the phone, like with a flask.
Darling, you're not drinking, are you, darling? Darling.
Get me a model's girlfriend, whatever. And he gets into a car accident, and first of all, it does not look like he was in a near-death car accident. Like, they say he has a concussion. There's no
he leaves the next afternoon.
Yeah, like, he just has a concussion and a blood clot that never comes up again. But he's not like bruised or anything. He doesn't even look sick. But he gets into this car accident, and then you see like terrible green screening. Like, this has gone awful. And he's walking around in, like, I don't know, some sort of filter effect from the 90s of a bunch of home videos of probably his kids. Where he's just walking around in a big tunnel tube of this.
Yeah.
And he sees his son, his other son, his third son who died.
Oh, that's why he's an atheist, by the way. That is, it's one of those movies. He's not just an atheist because he just simply doesn't believe. He's an atheist because he lost his son to cancer.
Which his mother gave to him, I guess.
Apparently, yeah.
And so he sees his son who died of cancer, and there's a touching moment, I guess.
Let there be light, Dad. Let there be light.
Like, he appears in this like flurry of light, and he's got this giant cherubic face.
Yeah.
Let there be light, Dad.
All that accumulates into, like, they try doing like the whole like hashtag everybody and tell them that God's not dead by the end of the movie, in which they go on Sean Hannity and tell everybody to turn the lights on their phone to let there be light and point it in the sky. And according to this movie and Hannity's ego, everyone in the world watches Sean Hannity.
He even said North Korea was there.
Yeah, we're even getting people from North Korea.
And he's like, how did people in North Korea know about this? Well, that's a good question, Sean Hannity. Are they watching you in North Korea? I don't think so.
What a putz. So like the whole world lights up at the end.
The mom gets cancer, which, fuck this movie for even throwing that in the last minute.
Every time she was like dying, where she's having a seizure or passing out, or even reacting to the news that she's dying, she would act the same if she was passing a volcano burrito. Like, it was ridiculous.
You can see her hair sticking out from underneath the headscarf, by the way. They didn't even, like, lighten her eyebrows to look like she'd lost that hair. Like, she just looked like a woman wearing a scarf over her head.
She's probably not the first person to pass out dead while watching Sean Hannity. Oh, that's when she dies, by the way.
Yeah, she gets a brain tumor. The night that they announce that they're getting remarried to the children, they're still standing in the living room in the announcement, and then stupid allowance joke gets interrupted by seizure. She finds out that she's got this stage 4 cancer and that she's gonna die, and they get this Sean Hannity thing done. Like, they get married and they go on there and they set it up on Christmas Eve. Everyone's gonna put their flashlights on in the world and show God's light. And they're sitting together as everyone's doing this, singing Christmas carols. And she goes, "Oh, so beautiful." Dies.
Dead.
Right then and there. Guess the movie's over. Credits.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, and like it shows the sons holding up the light, so they don't even know she's dead by the end of this movie.
The sons don't even know.
Oh, I like that they were promoting this whole shine your light thing up there, but the only two people in the sequence who aren't doing that is Sorbo and his wife.
Yeah.
They just were like...
Can you imagine she's holding the light like, dead.
Like the guy who created Hands Across America is just sitting on his ass in a basement. Oh, man. And Kevin Sorbo is really good in this. Like,
he is charismatic.
He's very charismatic. Like, Dave and I even said this in our review of God's Not Dead. We were like, as vile as this fucking movie is, Kevin Sorbo does have screen presence. He does have charisma. There are parts where he's not very good in this, but it's not... I don't think it's really because of him. It's because of some of the trite-ass shit that he has to say when he's like, I don't know, crying in heaven, and he has to say lines that, honestly, I don't think anyone could really pull across.
When he first sees Davy, the little boy, he goes like, "Davy, my son," as the kid's going, "Dad," like, as if you wouldn't know. Like, why would you say
Davy,
that? Like,
my son. No one can make that line good. And they say this throughout the whole movie, like, "My boy, my darling boy, my son." Like, they just constantly are referring to their children that way. It's bizarre. He also directed this movie, and he's a terrible director. There are several scenes where his kids are looking right at the camera.
Yeah, there's so many, like, bizarre close-ups of him standing at doors too, where it's just his face floating in there.
And I don't know if like they had some if they got some of their budgeting and funding from like Miracle Mop or
I think that was just a running joke.
That's what I thought at first, but when it kept cutting back to it, I was like, was there some deal he made with TV infomercials?
Did they show it though? They just showed the boxes. They didn't show anyone using it. They didn't show
That's true. They didn't.
The mop.
They showed a label at one point, but I don't even know if that was a real product. It could have been. I don't know. Not Miracle Mop, but there was some other thing.
The name sounded fake.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
You never know with those infomercials. Like,
I feel like it would be clunkier if it was supposed to be a product placement. And honestly, that joke was actually kind of funny.
Because Kevin Sorbo can be funny. Like, there are a few parts in this where he did have timing in his jokes. He's the only one in this movie who does. But at the same time, it's like when he's talking about preaching anti-hatefulness and love and acceptance, just like Jesus and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, maybe you should tell your Facebook and Twitter account that, man. like really, dude.
It just felt exploitative and decidedly not Christian.
No, it is a much worse made and acted film than God's Not Dead.
Would you say it was more hateful than God's
No.
Not Dead? Because that felt like, just from your video, God's Not Dead was more hateful.
It is, because God's Not Dead spreads out its hatred amongst many other things, not just atheists.
They do have a cancer plot in that one as well.
That's true, but she lived by the end of it, though.
She had more faith.
She did.
Than
She
Kevin
was.
Sorbo's wife.
She believed more. So like, like, God's Not Dead hated everybody. This one, this one's really just kind of focused on a couple of things, and like, oh, you know, you could do a movie like this and about, like, outside of parody, like something like Jesus Bro, but they make him such a cartoon. It's like, okay, I understand that a character like this in a movie has to have some level of smugness to him. I get that. I totally do. This is beyond that. This is like, buy my book, Aborting God, and anyway, put ISIS equals church on a shirt. And so, I get that, but like, There's
no
bring up
reason for them to constantly be bringing up ISIS either, other than to be really anti-Muslim, because they don't talk about their religion at all, but then that doesn't relate.
It doesn't relate to
trying to compare it to Christianity.
Yeah.
Because ISIS does not equal the Islam religion, you know?
I mean, it's weird how it's there. Like, I understand bringing up and shining light on stuff like when the Pakistan girl shows up and brings up honor killing and things like that, and the fact she had to escape. Like, yeah, okay, fine. But, like, dropping ISIS in this movie and even the opening sequence with the Je suis Charlie stuff and 9/11, like, what did that really have to do with anything in this movie?
And I didn't like that, especially because they're using real footage. They are. They're exploiting real tragedies for nothing. It's not necessary.
It was more tasteful when Geostorm did that. But they bring up
that was gross. It was gross.
I was, like, expecting them to, like, bring up Bill Maher in this movie, because he's a famous, outspoken atheist.
Yeah.
And they do at one point, but it's so... they make a short joke about him or something like that. I'm like... And, like one says something like...
he's not even that short.
He's pretty short. He's like... Bill Maher, I think he's about my height, or maybe, like, a couple inches taller. Right. He might be taller than me, honestly. But, like...
Compared to Kevin Sorbo.
Yeah. He's tall. Kevin Sorbo's fucking... Yeah, they say something like, well, if you go on Bill Maher, you're gonna tower over him. Boy, he's short. Yeah, he sure is short. I'm like, ooh, yeah, I bet that really stuck it to him. It's like if somebody wrote a negative review of Jesus Bro and went, yeah, the guy who wrote it's short.
Alright.
I'm like, so do you like it? I don't know what that means. Maybe that was one of the reasons it got... that could have been on one of the reasons that the Dove Foundation gave it 0 doves. Like, bare shoulder, bare knees. They say, heck at one point, and the writer's short. Oh yeah, they do say heck in this movie. Like, remember that?
I don't remember.
Oh, it's one of the wife's lines where it's like, what in the heck? But at least they were actually saying that in this movie, because in Boo Madea Halloween 2 the other day, they dubbed over their lines with, like, TV edit dialogue.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So if someone said, like, hell in that movie, like, Tyler Perry dubbed over it with heck. That happened.
Like as a joke or just as a dub?
No, there was not at all. It was just a poorly made movie.
Oh, all right. Well, that has something in common with this one.
Yeah. This is a terrible movie. Of all the movies, it's not a Pure Flix movie.
It feels like one, though.
It does. I mean, yeah, because Kevin Sorbo directed it, and he's in a lot of Pure Flix movies.
No,
God's Not Dead,
music.
but
you predicted country music.
that was weird. Dionne Warwick is in this. that happened. Yeah, there wasn't really any country music in this movie. That was shocking. The second most shocking thing about the movie is that there wasn't a trailer for The Star in front of it. Of course I don't recommend this movie. My God, the only way that I recommend this movie is if you watch it back to back with Jesus Bro, because this 100% is the kind of movie we were parodying with that film. It works out because it has the same fucking plot.
They can wait for your upcoming review of it too, as a cinema snob.
Oh, that's gonna happen. That is definitely gonna happen. And upcoming and the upcoming Dave video on the movie. Man, I can't wait for him to see this fucking movie. Jeez. Like, I really can't wait for him to sit through this fucking movie. This was so bad. Like, if I did a bottom 5 or 10 in terms of just quality and message of these movies, this one didn't make me I don't really get that mad at these movies anymore because I'm kind of just numb to them right now. Like, so I wasn't sitting there mad at it like I was in like Old Fashioned and shit like that. But in terms of filmmaking and all around acting and dialogue and message, like, this would be in the bottom 10. It might be in the bottom 5. I don't know. It's a pretty disgusting movie. Although, I don't know. I could be wrong. The other day on Twitter, Sean Hannity said people are coming up to him and telling him that it should be nominated for Oscars. So apparently the voices in Hannity's head also have shitty taste.
Well, in this universe, that's not happening. But maybe in the universe with President Clinton that he seems to live in, maybe that's where that's happening.
Where this movie's getting some Oscar nominations?
Yeah.
Yes. I hope so.
I want to step into that universe. I really would. Do you think we have enough controversial opinions in this one? The comments are going to be pretty bad, aren't they?
Not as bad as like. I mean, it's not like it's the Ghostbusters remake.
That's true. We can get through that. Get through any of them.
You have any final thoughts? Are we leaving anything out in this? I mean, we probably are, but there
was a lot going on here.
Uh-huh.
I feel like, in the end, the message here, what I want people to know is that I don't hate this for being preachy. I don't hate it for being a Christian movie. I just don't feel like it says a good Christian message. I feel like it's a lot of things wrapped up pretending to be Christian but being very rotten inside and not very helpful. Like, I feel like it's exploitative and it could hurt people, and that's not what Christianity is.
No, it's what this isn't in the category of Christian movies like take for instance All Saints that I saw, which wasn't a great movie, but it had a good message to it. This isn't that. This is the category of stuff like God's Not Dead and Persecuted and things like that, where it's like it's not a Christian movie. It's a we need an enemy movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
That's
how. That's what I should have said there. That's perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, my final thoughts on this. Of course, don't go fucking see this movie. This is a piece of shit. But if you get Jesus Bro, make it a double feature. You won't. I don't know which one would you watch first? I guess this one, and then put in the parody afterwards.
Yeah, and then cleanse the palate a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Watch the parody afterwards. All right, everyone. Thanks a bunch for watching us. Thanks, everyone in the chat. Tomorrow is Thor, and at some point I also got to see Bad Moms Christmas, and I'll see when Dave's available to go see this once it hits Springfield. So, see you guys.